Are you serious? Are you serious? Well, we're real serious, and we hope the media can get serious because there's some situations developing where whenever it seems like something's really a problem, it gets downplayed, and sometimes things that maybe aren't that big of a deal get played up. It just depends where the money is. Well, let's talk about that. And we got an expert with us today from getthetea.com. We got Ronnie McMullen with us. Ronnie, great to have you today.
How are you doing?
I'm doing great, doing great. And Ronnie, a couple things happening here. One is we have reports of an outbreak of measles, potentially a worldwide pandemic. Now, I do know that 16 folks have died from the measles in the Ukraine, and there is cases in different parts of the world, but there's just a very few here in America, yet the media is making this sound as if this is getting ready to become a catastrophic, cataclysmic event. Not to downplay this isn't serious, but what's your take on this, Ronnie, the measles outbreak?
Well, it's just my opinion. Doesn't mean it's right on the money, but I think it's a fear piece. The measles are very serious. I would totally be for vaccination on the measles itself, but the problem is the measles vaccination is not exactly what it was, 30, 40 years ago. All kinds of little goods in there that you don't want, and you could possibly, well, I better not say it, but you could have other problems by getting the vaccination. I noticed that the outbreak is 53 cases in somewhere between Oregon and Washington, and now Arizona could be facing it. But here's the question. Don't we have some states in between Oregon and Arizona? We forgot California. Oh, they're all for vaccines. Not necessarily true. So I think it's a fear piece. It's not to say, if you think you need to get a vaccination, then you need to do that. But you could risk other problems. So it's just something that, if it's 2 states over, I don't know. And the reason, just so you know, they picked Arizona is because people in Arizona don't like to vaccinate. They're wising up. They're saying, hey, autism's crazy. A lot of things going on. It's like autism, it's like 1 in 110. So it's cranking. So the people in Arizona, well, I think somebody picked somebody to write this article to say, hey, we need more vaccinations in Arizona. So write a fear piece for Arizona so we can get some more vaccinations, and people go, oh my gosh, I gotta get a measles, I gotta get a measles vaccination, hurry, oh my God, hurry up, speed, break the speed limit. And I think that's kind of the case. Anytime I see the CDC or the World Health Organization, I kind of duck eye the whole situation.
And you bring up autism, and that's the number one problem among children in the world now. Autism's number one. And that's
and it's serious.
Okay. So and that's being linked. There's been a lot of studies that's being linked to immunization. So
Yes.
We got to look at this, don't we, Ronnie?
Yeah, we do. We even had some celebrities that have problems as well. Jenny McCarthy, she had, her son basically with autism, Robert De Niro's child with autism. So they were looking into it. And a lot of times it's very much linked. Very shortly, things start showing up right after a vaccination. And it's just a coincidence. Well, it's not. We didn't have this kind of autism, 30 years ago. There was autistic that's been going on for a very long time, but we didn't have this kind of autism at this rate and increase 40 years ago. So there's something to be said. And of course, everybody gets defensive when you mention vaccinations because that's a no-no. But truth is truth. And I will tell you, if your child is autistic, there are natural ways to have your child get better. Look them up there, and they're very real. So just say that.
And also, just want to throw out there, I'm not real astute in this area, but leukemia. I know of people who would go back in and get another shot, some kind of immunization shot, and then all of a sudden come down with leukemia in 2 or 3 weeks. And my brother-in-law, that happened to him, and he had just got accepted into law school. He was 40 years old, and one of the requirements was to go get a vaccination. So he went and got the vaccination, and 2 weeks later he had acute leukemia. And I've always wondered about that, but I hear there's some of the statistics. I mean, what's your take on that?
I think, yes, it's very possible. I mean, did that happen for sure? I don't know. I'm obviously not a doctor, but there are things in those vaccines that should not be there. I will say that. That is a truth. And this is the same thing. I could say this for the supplement companies. They use fillers, wheat flour, rice flour. Wheat flour, seriously? Is that going to make you better? Is that going to give you more health? No, it's a filler. It's so we don't have to pay for things that we really need to be using inside that pill. So it's kind of like there's fillers, you might say, in vaccines, and they're very dangerous. There's things that we're supposed to say, let's eat less fish because of mercury, yet mercury's in vaccines. Why is that? So and I started off small. There's a lot worse than mercury.
Now, folks, Ronnie McMullen here, getthetea.com. You can always go to his website, and he has great supplements and great. Get the tea for sure. Get the tea. Ronnie, let's talk about something here. The bees. I mean, what's going on? I mean, look, I'm hearing bee apocalypse. Insects are dying. 40% of the insect species might be dead before the end of the century. But the bees, I don't know, something like 50% of the bees worldwide are gone. Where'd they go?
Well, when you have pesticides, herbicides, and stuff in the air, electromagnetic fields that are going on from the HARP system, radiation. I mean, it's just over. It's a wonder that human life is still going. And it makes it sound like I'm really tooting the horn like, oh, we're in trouble, because quite honestly, we are. The bees dying is something so very serious, and in my opinion, I can't say nobody's paying attention because that's not true. That's a blanket statement. But more people should be paying attention to bees. I have my own beehive, and I can't say it was all about a bee thing, but now it is. I sit on an acre, and I've got a lot of fruit trees, and these bees adopted me, and so since they have, I've kind of adopted them, and it's a swarm of honeybees, and it works out really good for my plants and really good for them. They produce honey. We never get any, but they produce honey every year, and I feel really privileged to have those bees in my yard. Most people, it's like, oh, we found a swarm of bees, let's go kill them. Boy, don't kill them. Relocate them, but don't kill them. We are on a decline of bees, and when that last bee dies, and I know Monsanto, which is now Bayer, thinks they're going to save us with their robotic bees, but they're not. When that last bee dies, we as a civilization have 5 years to live. That's it.
What?
So this is how serious it is.
When you say that Monsanto's got robotic bees, I mean, you're saying they're making little bitty bee robots that are going to pollinate and take the place of the natural bees?
Yes, just like they genetically engineered corn and they genetically engineered soy. I feel bad for the people that went vegan and they all of a sudden jumped over, because soy has to be a huge part. There's a lot of protein in soy. That's why everybody jumps to soy burgers and soy this and soy that. And I feel bad. I went vegan for 5 months, and with this soy, it's all genetically modified. It's kind of like the corn crop. It's frankenfood. So yes, you might be doing so-called better on a vegan diet, but you kind of lose everything because you're on a GMO diet with the soy. So there are things they have done to our crops, to our air, to our water, now to our bees, that are not reversible. I mean, we are at a point, and I stress this hugely, we are at a point, we need to actually be saving the bees. We need to be protected, and we're not doing any of that, And just so you know, I think bees feel fear. Okay, not that they're fearful of Monsanto or Bayer. That's crazy. But just so you know, a lot of people get really hung up when a bee comes around them. and they start swatting them and everything. And I'm not so crazy, don't kill one bee, whatever. But my point is, because they can be very aggressive. My own bees have stung me, so I know this. But long and the short of it is, I think they feel the energy of fear. Okay, so when you let the bee just do its thing, so if he's slowly flying around you, he has no business to sting you. He's not going to sting you. In fact, he might even land and he's not going to sting you. The only time the bees really sting you is when they're really aggressive and they're protecting the queen bee. So and when they do, they will land on you. They'll come back and land on you, and that's when you got to swat your bee. But if you have one just flying around you gently, they're not going to sting you. It's only the aggressive bees that run out and they just, because they have a job to do. That's what they do, is they protect their woman. So they go out and sting you 20 million times, whatever. And usually you'll get a swarm. You'll get, 2, 3, anywhere from 2 to 3 to 2 or 300. That can be quite dangerous. So just give the bees their little time and it's good. But we should really be saving the bees, because that's what's going to pollinate our food. And without that, we have no food. And we can't sit around and eat beef all day, so we're in trouble. And and the beef need to eat veggies themselves. They've got to be eating the alfalfa and the grass and so on and so forth. So we're really in a trouble. We need to be paying very close attention to this.
And this is really because of the genetically modified vegetables. I mean, the corn and what have you. I mean, hasn't this what's caused the downfall of the bee population more than even the pesticides?
It's part of it, because the GMO part of the plant is not set for nature. So you have that piece, but the herbicides and the pesticides have really made a change too. And also the electromagnetic field has made a play. I did a spot on birds, and their navigation is lost with the electromagnetic fields being interrupted in the EMFs. So, all this to say, this is why birds fly into your car now, and they never did before. So we're in some big trouble. And yes, between the pesticides, the herbicides, and the GMOs, bees are doomed, because they've got to eat too. And when they're eating stuff that's not for them, they die.
Folks, this is Ronnie McMullen with us from GetTheTea.com. GetTheTea.com. You can always pick up a phone and call in an order if you'd like to do it that way. He's got great supplements. And of course, get the tea. I mean, are you serious? Get the tea. It's the best tea in the world. I'm not joking about it. It's good for you. It tastes great. Call the number 928-308-0408. That's 928-308-0408. Ain't it great? Oh, yes. It's getthetea.com. And Ronnie, look, I'm looking at all the different supplements that are out there. One thing I love about yours, they're all natural. They're all natural. You put a lot of time and effort and research into the products, so it'd be to give us the best vitamins and minerals that we need. And you put a lot of study into this, didn't you?
I did, and I battle a couple of diseases myself, and I'm actually getting the upswing on them, so that's pretty exciting. But so I try to help people, battle certain things, and I got to be careful what I say. But basically, I want the best for people. There's so much out there in the natural world, not just supplements. Okay, and I've said it on the show many times. There's a couple things extra that you can do, and it's free: physical fitness and changing your diet. That's going to be huge. And when you do those two things, all of a sudden your supplements are like superchargers. But there's even more than that. We could talk all day for that. But point being is, we don't have to succumb to Western civilization medicine. We don't have to do the pharmaceutical trade. We don't have to have the 3,000 surgeries that they perform. Let me give you for instance. Back is a huge thing where people get back operations, and I've never spoken to anybody that's had a back operation or a neck operation and they're great and dandy after the operation. They've always had pain the rest of their life. And so there's ways to beat the system naturally. But I think they and them, that I call them, know this. And this is, again, right down to the bees. We kill the bees, and I think in their little teeny brains, and maybe they're really big brains. Maybe they're genius and that's why they're so stupid. I don't know. But I think in their minds, they think these robotic bees are going to be the cat's meow, and maybe they really believe in what Monsanto's website was talking about, feeding the world. Okay, maybe they really believe their own lies. I don't know. But they're not going to feed the world because, again, and I've spoken this before, you look at a bag of Doritos, and everybody has weaknesses. We have a bag of Doritos, and we woof through the bag real quick, and we realize, geez, I could eat another bag. Why is that? Because that Doritos are not registering as food. It's only registering in your body as substance. So when you eat that, your body says, what is this? I'm still hungry. And this is why 2-3 bags of Doritos and you're still going to be like, my stomach feels like lead, but I'm still hungry because it's not registered as food. So this is kind of the case. And I think they think they're going to win battles and feed everybody, but it will be substance and not food.
And Ronnie, I was sitting here noticing about the reports that says there have been warning signs for years about the plummeting insect population worldwide, but the extent of the potentially catastrophic crisis had not been well understood until now. The first global scientific review of the insect population decline was published this week in the journal Biological Conservation, and findings are shocking, with more than 40% of the species of insects globally are dying, with bees being the highest percentage of any species at over 50% of the worldwide bee population gone. This is so huge. Why isn't this on the nightly news like on a daily basis?
Because they want to bring the robots out. If you look at A&I, same thing. Robots are replacing people, and nobody seems to mind. And I'm thinking this is a catastrophic event that's taking place. You look at the bees are really, in my opinion, a time clock. And if they're 50% gone, if that's a truth, and I wouldn't think that would be a lie. If that's a truth and they're 50% gone, then our time clock of being on this earth is 50% gone. So, and there can be those that, it's like Hillary Clinton says, oh, Monsanto is great. It's wonderful. I have no problem with it. She doesn't eat Monsanto to save her life. No way. She'd be dead. So, these politicians and global elite and whatever, I think they just believe their own lies, but there's not going to be a robotic bee that's going to replace the real bee. In fact, when you talk about bee pollen, you're talking, in fact, we have that coming to Get the Tea. We are going to have bee pollen pills here probably within another 30 to 45 days, which I'm very excited about. But bee pollen is not even fully investigated yet of how good it is for the body. In other words, there's levels of what bee pollen does for the body that we and our scientists and doctors can't even explain. I mean, they can't even put it on paper. That's how powerful bee pollen is. You want to get better, you want to eat bee pollen. So that bee pollen is going to be probably worth more than gold in time here coming up. Because, like I said, it's just, I hate to put it on a negative note, but we really need to pay attention to this.
Ronnie, when you talk about, I was looking at some of the products you have some that you're discounting, giving people a really good deal on. The 8th Element is one of them. And can you tell us a little bit about the 8th Element and what it does?
8th Element is, I can't even say all the stuff it does because the suits will get me. But let's put it this way. It's a cordyceps, which is, it's mushrooms. And I always think it's funny, this isn't mushrooms that get you high or anything like that. But let's use the word magic mushrooms. Magic on your health will do great things for those that are struggling with issues, intruders, whatever. Cordyceps is incredible. The levels I had to take and to clean my website. I got violations because supposedly I'm making claims. And now a claim consists of, let's say I say vitamin C is good for you. I just made a claim. And so they can put commercials on pharmaceuticals where they dance around and tell you all this stuff. They can do that. But if I say vitamin C is good for you, or if I say 8th Element will help you with blah, 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 I can't even say help you. So there's incredible things that Eighth Element can do because it's magic mushrooms, we'll call it. It's really not magic, but the mushrooms have incredible amounts of, almost said the bad word, of greatness. So Eighth Element is an incredible thing to take, and you will definitely feel energy afterwards.
Yeah, you would think it would probably help the immune system or strengthen us in that area.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would think so. But again, Eighth Element, great product he has, and also you've got a sale running on one of your teas called Joint Aid. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Joint Aid is actually a pill, and yes, we do have a sale on it. We're going to actually reformulate that, so we're kind of doing a blowout price on it. It's a great product for, a little bit of joint relief. And a lot of people, especially when we get older, we kind of get creaky, we kind of, that kind of hurts a little bit. So this kind of relieves that, and that's kind of a nice thing. And then if you are caring about your eyes, we have a special on your eyes, and it's right on the front page. You just go to getthetea.com, scroll down, and I think it's called I Can See Clearly Now, kind of a play on words. But it's there's some really great things. Astaxanthin is in that as well. Bilberry is in that, and then the tea is in that. You'll notice most of my specials always have tea. I mean, there are some rarities out there, but most of the time it's tea because the tea is going to detox and get rid of all the garbage that we talk about on the show that comes in our air and our water and our food. It helps get rid of that. And you have to have some kind of defense against them slaughtering us with their stuff. So Get the Tea is really important. And I wanted to also share, Pastor, that last month we made it, if you said Paul on the coupon code, you would receive free shipping on anything. Usually it's free shipping over $100. But last month, if you mentioned Paul in the coupon code, you would get free shipping, no matter what it was, if it was $30 or $10 or whatever. So we're going to extend that another month. So until I'm back on with Pastor again, there's still free shipping if you put his name in the coupon code, Paul, in the coupon code. Then you will receive, not only it's a special if you get one of the specials, but you'll also get free shipping.
Oh, that's awesome, Ronnie. That's awesome, folks. So there you go. The free shipping. If you use in the coupon code, use my name, Paul. Get the free shipping with your order. And yeah, we've been showing this. I can see clearly now. I can see clearly now. Okay. Yeah, we've been showing that on the screen. There it is again, folks. I can see clearly now. There's the products that really would work well for that. What a great special that is. And also the colostrum complete. Okay.
Yes.
And it's
a fabulous product.
Another great product you have this month. So Ronnie, you're really setting everybody up to really get themselves feeling good physically, emotionally, and doesn't emotional healing have a lot to do with your whole body? I mean, getting the right mindset.
Oh, yeah. I'm learning so much about the emotions right now. It's fascinating. And I'm also learning some sound technology that actually brings healing through the emotions, because we all have traumas. So there's some really neat things that are out there to help heal us. And when our mind heals, which our emotions are, I always consider them energy and emotions. When we heal our emotions, and if you think about it, when all of a sudden you're radical, you're angry, you're depressed, means you're emotional. And a lot of that can be a chemical imbalance. Some of that, your right and left hemisphere of your brain is not connected. There's been breakage. So what happens is sound therapy can do a lot of great things, and it's wonderful. You just listen to some sound stuff, and you feel better, and you calm down. Most people don't realize that when your emotions are up, in other words, you're stressed, and we're all stressed from different things in our life, but when you're stressed, or you're very emotional, very angry, it could even be really super happy, diabetic, your blood sugar will go up tremendously, probably 10-20% just off emotions. So that kind of gives you an idea. Well, it also, when you're stressed, it also knots up your neck and whatever, and it can actually throw your back out. And people don't realize that. And it can, because your back just has to be out a little bit, and it can cause enormous pain. And then you have fear because you're like, oh, what happened to my back? I just threw my back out, or I just threw my neck out. And oh, what is that? Do I have to go to the doctor? Do I need a surgery? Is there something? Do I have a tumor? Do I have, And the next thing you know, you got fear. Now fear opens up the cells and fills it up with fear, and you get more tense. So it's like this crazy thing. So I guess what I'd say is mellow out, kick back, enjoy the day, tell yourself some positive things. Take a walk, not just for the exercise part, but for the frequency part, and go save a bee.
There you go. Save a bee, drink some tea, get yourself feeling great. Hey, Ronnie, also, but
tea and have a bee, and he's like a little poet over there.
Yeah, just do it, okay? I mean, enjoy life. And let me ask you a question, Ronnie. I mean, you talk about sound therapy. Now, there's a couple things I got in my mind. One, certainly when I'm just listening to quiet music, I mean, maybe a little classical music, maybe something that's a little soft. It's relaxing. It seems like it's soothing. Or just the ocean, just to hear the ocean, if you get a chance to go to the ocean, or maybe a river flowing. But what about, this is just a question, I don't know, but these rings, I've seen people, they say that these ring bowls, I don't know, you do something other and all of a sudden the bowl just rings. Some people say that's really good for the nervous system, and I don't know anything about it. Is there anything to that? I mean, is that what you're saying, sound therapy?
Yeah, that's one of the sound therapies, is you can have ringing bowls. But the problem I have, and forgive me people, but the problem I have with any of the stuff is, like ringing bowls, you buy these bowls, they're so expensive, and then you put your finger, and yes, it does help. But I'm kind of one that likes scientific backing. I don't want to just, hear say, oh yeah, if you drive a car 90 miles an hour, you're going to get some really good earplugs, and no. I need some, I don't even necessarily have to have clinical trials, but I want close to. So I'm not saying those are bad, because I've heard very good about ringing bowls. But I think the technology that we're under right now, in fact, the technology is moving, and our Western medications are way behind. We're moving into the electronics, and our body resonates and vibrates on a certain frequency. This is why when you go into, you can stop me whenever you want to, but this is why when you go into the forest, or you go into, you put your feet in the water in the ocean, or go to the lake or whatever, you feel peace. You go, wow, I feel better. Just walking. You're not running. You're not doing this. You just feel better. Sometimes just standing there in the midst of a breeze blowing through the trees, you just, wow, this feels good. That's because it's a frequency, and this is really wild, you vibrate on that frequency. So the trees and the ocean is at peace. So you now begin to vibrate on that and resonate with that peaceful mode. So now you go to your computer and it's on another frequency, or your refrigerator is humming and making this noise, and you're on that. You will now resonate on that frequency, and that is a chaos frequency. That is a frequency that will make you irritable. So it's very interesting. I'm learning a lot, and it's fabulous, because it's basically they're putting frequencies into classical music, and you listen to this classical music for 90 minutes, 80 minutes, and you think all you're doing is listening to some music, but there's some undertones that are helping you heal by your body, and your body picks them out and listens to them. Your subconscious grabs it right away, but your front brain doesn't. So it's just fascinating stuff, and it has a lot of, I can say this because it's not my stuff, but it has a lot of healing properties.
Yeah, and you know what? It's very true. I mean, if anytime I'm walking through the woods, or if I'm outside, or the wind's blowing, or if I'm down by the river or down by the ocean somewhere, it certainly soothes the soul. It makes you feel much better. I mean, you become, and a lot of people like to swim because they become the water. They become the water. And I know here recently I'm working on my brand new music CD, and for the last 3 Fridays in a row, I've been in the studio recording. And I get to just I get to go into another mode. Okay, I'm just singing. I'm listening to the music. I'm harmonizing, and it's one of the most relaxing days I have is just to actually go record music. It's just beautiful. So I mean, there's something to it. The frequencies, there's no question. The frequencies are touching people's lives and touching their heart and their soul, their mind, and we need to eat. Doesn't food do the same thing to us, Ronnie? I mean, what we eat, do we have enough supplement to help? I mean, doesn't that all have a play into our...
We are what we eat, but I want to finish on what you were talking about singing, because if you ever notice in a church service, there's usually a time they call worship, which is, they use music.
Yeah.
Have you ever noticed in a service with music how you feel?
Yeah.
You start resonating with the music. Sometimes you can go, oh, I don't like that kind of music or whatever, but it still is resonating. Your body's still resonating on that music. So that's why a lot of times, okay, you ready for this? Here we go.
Yeah.
You'll actually, because the body heals itself, you're resonating off the music, and this is why when the pastor starts praying for you and you use a little mind, then you use body and spirit, you'll see healings take place.
Amen.
Whee!
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen.
So anyway, now back to the supplements. So the supplements are going to do a lot more if you're exercising and doing great things with your diet. And I don't mean you have to go vegan or you have to be vegetarian or be crazy or whatever, but limit your meat if you would. Cut it down to 4 or 5 ounces instead of the 16-ounce steak, because that's got to sit in your colon for 72 hours before it comes out, and it leaves things behind, and that's not good. So try not to eat a lot of simple carbs, and just doing those things. Eat a salad a little bit more once in a while, and make sure it's not just head lettuce, because that's probably one of the worst products you can have. So make sure you got some spinach in there or something, but change your diet a little bit, and then you'll find supplements and all that kind of stuff, the tea, whatever, will have superchargers, and you'll get better, faster, and you'll feel better, more energy, and life will be good.
Amen and amen. Folks, again, Ronnie McMullen, getthetea.com. Go to his website, www.getthetea.com. Check out all of his great products he has. Make sure you get the tea and enjoy what he has. Or just pick up the phone. Call the number, 928-308-0408. That's 928-308-0408. Ronnie, and of course, use that promo code Paul. Get the free shipping. Get the free shipping. Ronnie, it is a pleasure to have you today. I really appreciate it. Another powerful program. Thank you for being with us today.
Always enjoy it, Pastor. Always enjoy it. You're one of the fun ones.
Okay. God bless you, Ronnie. God bless all of you. We'll see you again next time right here